Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ali and my channel is all about productivity, business and systems analysis fields, giving you tips and tutorials to be more self-aware, develop good work practices and ultimately be more successful in life. Today I will be discussing the popular strategic analysis tool called the PESTLE analysis, as well as its related names such as PESTLE, PESTLE, PEST, steepled, epistled, or any other play on the words you can think of. Imagine the following few scenarios. You're a student at college or university and your lecturer sets you an assignment on 1930s Germany and the conditions which gave rise to Hitler. Or you're a business student where you are assigned a task to analyze a big corporate organization such as Nike, Google or Microsoft. Or say you are a consultant and you've just landed a great well-paid opportunity to go off to a third world nation to help its government enhance their railway infrastructure. You may be an analyst working for a corporate organization where cost of living crisis has forced huge changes and upheaval throughout your business, and there is a need to get a deeper understanding of how those changes have impacted your organization. Finally, it may be that your place of work wishes to expand into a new market or a geographical area and needs a better understanding of the macro business environment so that risks could be better understood. In all the above scenarios, it would be fair to say completing the given task is quite a complex undertaking, and nobody would blame you for simply scratching your head and wondering just where to begin. Well, the PESTLE analysis tool will fulfill all your needs and more, and this episode is all about ensuring you understand how. Firstly, I want to break down what it actually means. Here, I am using PESTLE as the acronym as it provides the widest range of letters to understand the concept. P stands for political, E is for economic, S is for socio-cultural, T is for technological, L is for legal, I stands for international, E stands for environmental, and D stands for demographic. But you have to choose an acronym which best suits your needs under the circumstances. Given each of these domains, the framework is used to analyze, monitor, or scan the external environment around a business and understand how the different domains impact that business. This in turn helps the internal assessment of the business's ability to respond to and handle those external forces. It also helps to define and implement future strategy. So, given that business context, the following are a specific set of instances where a PESTLE analysis is mostly used. So, when a business is considering launching a new product or service, expanding into a new region or country, or even a brand new national, international market, or simply when you're working as part of a strategic project team, PESTLE is a standard tool in your armory of day-to-day working. From a practical point of view, the following is how you would undertake a PESTLE, whether you are working as part of a team or whether you're doing it as an individual. You break down each domain into its respective quadrant. The first thing you do, you brainstorm each quadrant, you identify any issues, you rate their importance, assess the likelihood of any events happening within that domain, and consider the implications of those events. So basically, you consider and evaluate each domain as it influences and impacts your organization or the target of your study. If this is an internal analysis of external factors, then apply the following 3 rules. Rule 1, each finding must be out of the organization's sphere of control. Rule 2, it must impact the organization in some way, however small. And rule 3 is don't sweat considerations according to where they fit in the framework. It's finding them that's important, not where they actually sit within that framework. And finally, you document your findings. Now, once that phase of the analysis is complete, there may be a need to dig deeper, and in that case, all you do is break each domain into its constituent parts, rinse and repeat. And here are some examples of constituent parts for each domain. Under the political domain, How stable or unstable is the government? Is there free speech and democracy? Does corruption exist? What political changes and policies are on the horizon? What are the trading rules and controls which exist within that sphere? What are the tax implications? And what is the regulatory environment which may impact you as an organisation? Under the economic domain, the questions to ask are: what is the current and projected economic data showing? What are the market trends, job growth, unemployment and labour supply, inflation and interest rates data, levels of disposable income in your demographic, any globalisation impacts, and economic trends? Under the socio-cultural domain, you want to consider things such as population growth, health provision, education, social mobility of the population, consumer attitudes, advertising and media, national and regional culture, lifestyles, religious beliefs and how strong they are, socio-cultural changes. Under technological, you want to understand how technologically mature is your target of study, any impact of new technologies, the internet and how it affects working and business, licensing and patents law, technology trends, and research, funding and development. Under the legal domain, you want to consider things such as local and international legislation, employment law, any new laws coming into effect in the near future, regulatory bodies, environmental regulations, industry-specific regulations, and any consumer protection law. Under international, things such as global trading, international events and relations, international competitors, supply chains and how they impact pricing and availability, trading blocks and regulations such as the EU, and import and export processes. In the environmental domain, items such as infrastructure, weather phenomena, energy availability and costs, ecological consequences and impacts, waste material disposal, legislation, contamination, environmental issues both local and nationals are things to consider. Under demographics, you will be considering things such as is there an ageing population, socio-economic status, census results, target personas, sex, gender, ethnicity, race, religion, languages, social class, and political affiliations. These are items that I think are relevant, but you could simply use your own to suit your own needs. Hopefully, by now, you are beginning to realise a PESTLE analysis can really provide an extremely rich set of data, but it could also take quite a lot of time and effort to complete. You could go even further by placing the data inside of a table and researching or estimating data points such as importance, likelihood, implications, time factors, RAG status, and go/no-go decisions. I wouldn't do justice to this video if I didn't conduct a basic example of a PESTLE analysis. So here is one. Imagine you've been assigned a task to conduct a PESTLE analysis by your university lecturer on the UK's HS2 National Railway Infrastructure Project. So this isn't a work-based example, and please remember that the information serves as an example of a PESTLE analysis and shouldn't be taken as a serious study. It may be incorrect.
First mooted by Labour in 2009, HS2 is a massive high-speed rail project that links London and major cities in the north, with building in 2 phases. Phase 1 is a new line between London Euston and the West Midlands. Originally slated to open in 2026, Phase 1 is now expected to open between 2029 and 2033. Phase 2 was split into 2 parts. 2A connected Birmingham to Crewe, while 2B continued on west to Manchester and east to the East Midlands and Leeds. With these changes, the journey from London to Crewe will reduce from 90 minutes to 56 minutes. But in its latest setback, the HS2 expansion has been watered down. Another rail line, known as Northern Powerhouse Rail, which would have connected Leeds to Manchester via Bradford, is not going ahead. And the eastern leg from East Midlands to Leeds will now be scrapped. Since HS2 was announced, £500 million worth of investment has been attracted to Leeds.
Crossrail of the North will shorten journey time 55 minutes to Manchester, from Manchester to Leeds to 33 minutes. But what we're also doing is a Crossrail of the Midlands, from the West Midlands to the East Midlands, for the first time in the history of our country, running from Birmingham to Nottingham, which currently takes 1 hour and 14 minutes, going to get it down to 26 minutes. And we will look at what we can do going forward to Leeds.
But by 2050, 40,000 extra jobs were expected, as well as a boost to the economy of over £50 billion. It's raised massive questions about the government's promises to level up the north, and could pose problems for Tories in red wall seats.
Here are my findings for the political domain. Different political parties in the UK have different plans regarding HS2. The Labour Party, as opposition to the incumbent Conservatives, support HS2. The actual idea of HS2 was planned under the Labour Party when they were in power, and have pledged to complete the line, albeit in a different way to the Conservatives. The Conservatives, on the other hand, whilst in opposition, had planned to scrap HS2 and use the saved money for other purposes. But HS2 is now at the heart of the government's Build Back Better policy as the UK's spine of rail networks, primarily to support and regenerate northern towns and cities under the Northern Powerhouse policy. The Greens opposed the HS2 because of the environmental impacts projected in early studies. The following was found under the economics domain. A 2013 KPMG report estimated that within 5 years of the line opening, UK productivity will rise by £15 billion a year, an increase of 0.8% in GDP. The estimated net transport benefits of £74.6 billion to be delivered in full from the network. They also said there would be a boost to the UK economy by generating 22,000 construction jobs, and once the entire line is running, create a further 104,000 jobs. However, by the time HS2 received parliamentary approval, the budget had risen to £56 billion, an increase of 70% from the initial estimates of £32 billion in 2010. The costs have since spiralled to an eye-watering £106 billion, and it is highly likely they will continue to rise even further over the next few years. In 2021, the Conservatives cancelled the Leeds leg of the project. Instead, they intend to upgrade the existing railway lines in the Leeds area. Critics have said these decisions are due to ever-increasing costs and mismanagement, but obviously the Conservatives would deny this. Under Sociocultural, the following was found. Homeowners who must make way for HS2 have been promised the unblighted value of their house and a home loss payment of 10% of the value of their home, up to £53,000, and reasonable moving costs. There is increasing public discontent due to being over budget, high environmental impacts, and mismanagement. There is also real public perception that the real beneficiaries are London businesses instead of the northern powerhouse cities. But creation of jobs may blunt much of the opposition to the project. Under Technological, the entire project can be said to be bringing newer technology to an existing old system. Sensa is an example startup whose platform is used in the project and which uses drone-captured visual and spatial data to create digital replicas of the real world, to create digital topographical surveys of the HS2 route between London and Birmingham. In 2016, there was a government mandate to implement Building Information Modelling, BIM, on projects to improve how assets are designed, created and maintained. HS2's BIM strategy is leading the industry, creating visualization and integration hub that enables users to intuitively search, surface and query spatial, geospatial, asset and project data in one place. It has been said that the lack of IT deployment has contributed to problems the HS2 project is facing, as well as the management. Clients and supply chains don't have the right information to make informed, timely decisions on the project, resulting in delays. On to law. In November 2013, the government deposited a hybrid bill in Parliament entitled High Speed Rail London West Midlands Bill. The bill granted them powers to construct phase 1 of the project. HS2 is facing legal challenge from a construction company threatening to sue due to a conflict of interest. This is fairly normal in large infrastructure projects where different organisations decide to sue each other over infringement of contracts. Last but by no means least, there have been numerous objections in the courts by environmental groups concerned about the impacts to wildlife conservation areas, as well as from individuals facing eviction and upheaval during the construction of the project. Finally, on to environmental. The project is a threat to UK's ancient woods, with 108 at risk of loss or damage. HS2 will run trains at close to 400 km per hour speeds, which needs 50% more energy than Eurostar, pushing up electricity and carbon consumption costs and impacts. It won't, in real terms, reduce demand for flying, which was initially suggested in support of the project. The only routes which would see competition between HS2 and the airlines are those operating between London Heathrow and Manchester, and over 130 wildlife sites on the first stage alone will be directly affected, including 10 sites of special scientific interest, an area of outstanding natural beauty, and 50 ancient woodlands. That ends my example project for a PESTLE analysis. I hope it was helpful, but also please don't forget that it wasn't meant to be an actual study of the HS2 project. It's just used for illustration purposes. As the final part of this video, I just want to provide some advantages and disadvantages of the framework. So advantages: it's simple and easy to understand and use. You can go from a high level detail to low level detail. It helps you understand the business environment better. It encourages strategic thinking, helps you to anticipate future difficulties and act now. It provides great insights when used alongside a SWOT analysis, and it yields insight into local, national and international impacts. In terms of disadvantages, to get the best results, it requires expertise in each domain, especially when big investment is being considered. It only gives snapshots unless used with expert trend analysis. It often requires access to data sources which could be time consuming and expensive to get hold of. It doesn't always give precise results. It can quickly become quite complex if very detailed outputs are desired. And in some areas of the PESTLE domains, you may have to make assumptions which may, at a later point, be found to be incorrect. So that brings to an end my points about the PESTLE tool. I hope you found it useful and informative, and I just want to finish by stating that despite PESTLE analysis being used as a strategic inquiry framework in a business environment, it can also be used in your personal life as a productivity tool. And I will follow this video up with another video showing how that can be put to use on a personal level. Thank you very much for watching and listening to my video. If it helped, then please like and subscribe to the channel. I promise there are a lot more videos to come. Thank you and goodbye.